At what I thought would be instructive at the very beginning, first I'll turn on my video. Sorry. Okay, so what I thought would be instructive at the very beginning is to guide people through a new account opening. And so what we did was established a temporary account, and that temporary account, nothing has happened with it. Okay, a temporary account, a preliminary enrollment, and that preliminary enrollment has not been activated. And so what I've done here is establish a pre-enrollment, and now we're going to walk through what everyone needs to do as they go from their pre-enrollment position to the complete process that we're involved in. And so when I did that pre-enrollment, of course, what did I need to do? When I did the pre-enrollment, I needed to establish a password. And so I did. I established the password. And now, so it can see me and it will log in. And so when it logs in, then what I'm going to see is as following. And so it's going to come to the very beginning here and ask me if I would like to be a member or a partner. A member, of course, is one who has access to the tools but does not have access to the compensation plan. Also, a member will not receive the various marketing messages. Let's all remember what our vision here, what the vision of the company is. The vision of the company is to extract a handful of key leadership. It is to extract a handful of key leadership from inside the industry of network marketing. And what does it mean, a handful? A handful doesn't mean five or six people. A handful means among the many millions of people who have participated, to be able to identify a core group of qualified leadership who has already walked the walk so they have some basic ability of how to assemble teams, because that will be about 50% of our ongoing business building effort, about half establishing teams. And we will all, as a group of people, make a transition from what has been almost exclusively team building activities in our network marketing businesses to this will be much, much, much more customer centric. My vision has changed literally on a daily basis. As some of you know, we've been able to attract a group of remarkable people from another company that tried to launch with an AI offering and has been trying for now almost 3 years to have deliverable people. Are many of them, some of the key leadership have gravitated to us, and that's why we saw those absolutely crazy numbers of 10,000 and went to 20,000 and to 30,000 and to 40,000 members literally overnight. Now, that did not happen as a result of a grassroots movement. That happened as a result of a large body of people becoming very, very ability to execute news that LEV.AI. Well, it was fascinating to me. I've had conversation with folks who personally enrolled 3,000 customers. Can you imagine that? And I've had conversations with many people, not one or two, who have several hundred customers. Now, in the context of my direct selling business, that has never existed. Why has it never existed? It's never existed because always until now, the price of the product being represented by the direct selling company was price to fund the compensation plan. That was their first look, the comp plan, the opportunity, the timing, and oh yeah, there's the product and there's the price. And the product had to be good. But the fact is that most people have looked at my various ventures from the standpoint of can I make money at it, not from the standpoint of will that product do something for my body or for my life. Now, we find ourselves not with one or the other, but with both, because I've never had a more positive and profound income possibility to deliver them this message. But I've also never in my whole life, I've never, this is by a factor of thousands of times more power from a customer acquisition standpoint. And those of you who, like me, have been around the industry for a long time of direct selling micro enterprise, let's acknowledge the truth. The truth is, we talk about, I talk about with some joy and satisfaction of the fact that I've had four separate experiences in the direct selling industry where my organization have grown to about 1 million people and where I've had annual incomes well in excess of $1 million in each of four instances. That's really cool. But if you really stand back and say, well, why did there have to be a second time? Why did there have to be a third time? Why did there have to be a fourth? It was simply because when it was no longer a compelling business message because you can be first, then the harsh scrutiny of what is the product actually and what is the value that it creates. If I'm not making the amount of money that I hope to make because of this momentum surge I was hearing about, and now suddenly I look at the product for the sake of the product. And so we have always, this network marketing industry, clear since the 1980s, has always been selling to itself, because the person who doesn't make enough money in the comp plan to justify their ongoing participation in it, they almost universally, they go and they buy the product someplace else. Okay. So now, why do we have people that have had 1,000 customers, 1,500, 3,000 customers? Why do we already have one person in our company that already has over 400 customers lined up and ready to go? And I mean, ready to go. They will enter over this weekend. That is happening because you cannot buy a product or service like that, which we offer for less money. And it's happening because people are getting to step into a conversation of this excitement of artificial intelligence. Okay, with all of that excitement for artificial intelligence and with the changing of the guard, this is the changing of the guard. Now we build teams in depth. That's why our compensation plan says we're going to pay you on depth, and you have to have 5 legs wide to get paid on depth. But then it also says, hey, folks, open your eyes wide, become product slash customer focused. Let that focus be at least equal to your recruiting team building efforts, and you will find there will be people that have wonderful 5 wide, multiple generations in depth, whose incomes will pale in comparison to those who have 1,000 customers, because all of those customers know what you don't yet know. If you're brand new to the world of AI, I'm just barely learning it. What I now know is that what we offer for $99 either cannot be acquired, period, in a bundle, or if you could acquire it, it would cost 5 times as much. That's the truth. And the whole world's gravitating towards it. And so now that was a launch to this point. Do not assume that every person who arrives on this screen is going to click partner, and don't try to convince someone who should be a member that they should be a partner. If what they want to do is use AI in their business, they don't need to become a partner. If they want to use AI in their business and they want to use AI as a business, then they should become a partner. Or if their sole purpose is to use AI as a business. But you see, if one wants to simply be a user of the product, that's member. If one wants to be a user of the product and a business builder, that's fantastic. But the membership is not secondary to the idea of being a business builder. The membership itself is what floats this whole thing's boat. Please always keep that in mind. And so in this particular case, let's click on partner. And so going to enroll a new partner. And as we know, we are going to enroll those partners either on the basic with the basic package or the pro package. Now, part of this is probably true because we are operating in the United States and Canada right now, which are two of the most affluent economies in the world. And so there's no doubt that that's part of why this next number I'll tell you is accurate. We have right now more than 90% at the Pro Pack. What is that telling me? It's telling me that everyone considers this to be a remarkable value. If we had 50 or 60% of our people opting for that less expensive package, then I would be questioning the value proposition. When we have more than 90%, I haven't gone through and done the actual calculation, but I mean, I can go through page by page by page by page by page of 99, 99, 99, 99, 99, and then I get to a 49. I mean, without question, it is far less than 10%. And so, by and large, in the United States, Canadian, developed economy markets, Japan, Germany, Western Europe, France, the the more developed economies in all of Asia, I would not invest a lot of your time in the dialogue of the basic package. The market has already spoken. Now, once again, the market will speak next week. The market's already spoken as it relates to developed economies. In the last 4 days, 3 days, the market has spoken. And what it has said is, we want the services that are inclusive in the pro package, and we consider that to be a buy. The market has said that by having 9 out of 10 opt for that. And the 1 out of 10 who did not opt for that, that might have been born of economic reality. It might have been born of simply not understanding what the value proposition is. So remember, at step number 2, those of you who have lived in my universe for a period of time, we all know that step number 1 is to not just to enroll, but to create a mental and emotional barrier of exit so that you stay engaged when things get challenging. Now, that's interesting, isn't it? That's step number 1. People who've been in my universe for the last 35 years know that step number 1 is to not just enroll, but to enroll and then create a mental and emotional barrier of exit that is greater than any obstacle you might encounter. That's what step number 1 is. Well, you know what? In just the last 2 days, I've already had people evidence to me that they didn't do step number 1 because they couldn't log in and they got frustrated and they threw their hands in the air. I said, wow, how exactly in the world is the attitude of If I don't get exactly what I want the first day that I want it, and I have a little bit of confusion, I've got to learn something. I'm just Well, that explains why they got attracted to simply can. The point is that if you are in a developed market, I would almost eliminate the basic package from your dialogue, and I would make the pro package the star of the show because that is what literally everyone is opting for. More than a little bit as we move on. I've got to grab a wallet because we're actually going to do this. Then I'll just refund it. So hang on with me 1 second. I'll grab my wallet. So boom. Now I'm there. And so now it asked me to allow 1 to 2 minutes for my subscription to activate and then click here. So, folks, let's talk about a couple of numbers. In my own case, in Samantha and I's case, and I would consider us to be responsible sponsors. Some of you that we've enrolled, you might say, well, no, you're not, Randy. You didn't call me back yet. Doing my best. But I think that we're responsible sponsors and we try to provide all of the right information. I did not get extremely aggressive. There were those, and I don't have an issue with it. One strategy was to make a really big push on the idea that initial accounts were free. Grab your free spot, grab your free spot. There's nothing wrong with that strategy. That strategy logically would result in a few more people having a little bit of a lottery attitude. Grab your free spot. If my primary motivation for doing it was because it was free, as opposed to what the ultimate opportunity was, then I may not. Then that certainly would not make me as high a qualified. I mean, that still in my mind is certainly a candidate. Certainly, that is not yet a business builder. That is a candidate at that point in time. Okay. So I have not done the grab my free spot. I've said there's no cost associated with this until we actually go live, which will be at a certain date. But that was a much, much, much softer message than grab your free spot, get your free spot, get your free spot. And so I would anticipate that those leaders organizations who more aggressively leverage. And please understand, I am not finding fault with that. That produced one incredible flood of applications. One must be prepared for that flood of applications to have somewhat smaller uptick if one of the big messages was grab a free spot versus this is what the opportunity is and there's no cost associated with it yet, but the cost is coming soon. Two different ways of saying the same thing, but one that would tend to lead to a more flighty, I'm going to act upon that and get my free spot. The other one, a little bit more of a business choice. So, all of that said, I did not aggressively leverage the grab your free spot strategy. And I believe that the result is that I will have a bigger percentage of people who act affirmatively and who upgrade. That's logical to me. That because it wasn't just grab a free spot, but get involved in a business, and the cost is coming. Once again, two ways of saying the same thing. One is not right. One is not wrong. One is slightly more aggressive. One is a little bit less aggressive. It's kind of a rarity for me to be on the less aggressive side of the coin, but this time I'm on the less aggressive side of the coin. And even given that less aggressive side of the coin, I can tell you that right now, I mean, literally as of 20 minutes ago, Samantha and I have personally enrolled 143 people. And of those 143, now only 20% have activated their account out of 143, 30. So I guess that's 30. What is 30 out of 143? Whatever that percentage is 1/5. That's 20%. And so I've had not quite 20% of those people who did the pre-registration complete the registration. Okay. Now we have to back off of that and say, okay, Randy, and how many of those 143 were outside of the United States? In our case, almost exactly half, slightly more than half of the 143 were out of the United States. And so that means that I have 63 who are in the United States. Those are the only ones who've had the opportunity to upgrade so far. And out of those 63, what was the number? 27, I think. So we're just barely less than half, just barely less than half of those who are eligible to activate their accounts have activated their accounts. Now, I will feel like we have done a good job because, again, all of those people, they're all people who want the business. I will feel like we've done a good job at getting people over the hurdles of doubt, fear, insecurity, not understanding how to access the application, all these different kinds of things. If by the time Sunday comes, that has gone someplace over 80%. That should be the target. And again, those are my targets, but I'm trying to help you also establish targets. Your and if So remember, when you're looking at your that which is measured can be improved, and I want each of you to be measuring your effectiveness as a leader in this business because that's what we're trying to create: a leadership structure, a leadership hierarchy. And I know in this conversation we talk about very most basic, rudimentary things: how to use the technology. Everything I ever do is rooted in the concept of how do I help you become a more effective leader. So that which is measured can be improved. Take a look at all the people that you have enrolled. Eliminate those who are outside of the United States and Canada. And if you have less than about half of those who have activated their account right now, then that means there is an issue and that issue needs to be addressed. How would we address the issue? We would address the issue by sending the replay link to yesterday's training session to any person who was not on it or has not received the link yet. Say this is critically important. Do not let the lightning in the bottle slip through your hands. And then when this session is over, I have no idea how many people are here, but I know it's a whole lot less than we have registered in the United States and Canada. Every single person needs to receive this as well so that everyone has an understanding of what is an appropriate target. If we've got a target, we might hit it. If we don't have a target, we will not. If you are at or above 50% of your domestic enrollments who have activated, then you are on plane. If you have fewer than 50% of your domestic enrollments who have activated, and you are off plane. Understanding if I'm on plane or if I'm off plane is important information to me because that helps me guide my next decision. So now we've allowed 1 to 2 minutes, slightly more than that, and we come over here. It is now going to guide you directly to the place where you will train your AI. Now, yesterday, when we had our training, I acknowledged to you that I did a bad job. When I got right here, I was in a hurry. I wanted to see the tools. And so I just put in simple answers. And the result was that when I did see the tool, I didn't like what I saw. I didn't take the time I should have taken here. It says it takes less than 2 minutes. I think to do it right, it'll take a few more than 2 minutes. Give it some thought. It took me less than 2 minutes. And what I put up didn't let my assistant there come to know me. And because she didn't come to know me, then the things that she posted didn't sound like me. And I mean, even Samantha, she's my biggest cheerleader. And she said, "Right, that doesn't sound like you." She didn't pretend it sounded like me. And so I encourage you when you get right here, let's give it just a little bit of time. So my first name is Randy, and I'm hoping each one of you, by the way, you have this thing recorded. I encourage you, if you have not gone through this all yet, then in the next hour or two, or when you've got time, open one device and play this recording as you open your device and go through this. So do it as we go through the recording. And so please share at least two of your hobbies or interests. Now, once again, when we received the digital avatar, I've had 3 or 4 people. Bev, my friend Bev, is probably on here. And Bev said, "Randy, when can I load all of your content into my AI?" When your virtual you comes out, that is when. You cannot load my content into these things we're doing right now. Right now, this is simple. This is rudimentary. This is what gets the ball started. When we load hours and hours and hours of content, I mean, I believe that before it is done, I will have loaded more than 1,000 hours of content into my digital clone. Why? Giving it enough content that it becomes conversational in its interactions. That's not what we're doing now. Okay, that's not what this is. And so here, what are two of my hobbies or interests? Well, I like family, fun. I like skiing. I like personal growth. Okay, now all of these things, but whatever you want. So that's giving it a very base, very tiniest starting point. Then we click on it. And now it's starting to get to know us just a little bit. What is my occupation job title? Okay, so down here, I did it wrong before. What is my occupation, my job title? It is president of Rising Sun Inc. That is my job title. I didn't give it my job title when I first put it in. Instead of my job title, I gave it further description of what I do. And that produced faulty responses. Remember that these AI tools can only respond to what we ask them to respond to. They're not thinking on their own. That is not the truth. The depth of the content that we load into it will give it increasing perception or appearance of conversation, but that's because of the density of the content that has been loaded. And what drew me to the area of work center writing thing? Because I enjoy helping other people. Whoops. What happened to me there? Get myself away somehow. Don't know what I did. Okay. I enjoy helping other people succeed. And I like financial success. And by the way, I'm guessing that probably 70% of you have done this. And you're saying, Randy, get to it, get to it. The 30% who haven't done it yet, I got to get them caught up. Even if there's only 1% that haven't done it yet, I promise you that by the end of this week, I will have done deep, deep, deep dives for those who are ready for that deep dive. What we have to do first is get everybody onto the diving board before we can do the deep dive. Share two of my goals and dreams. Okay. This is the big one for me, folks. I'm teaching you all about me. It is for my greatest success to be in my future, not in my past. And for my son and wife to never feel the pains of financial hardship. Boom. What are a few of my favorite books, music, or sports? All things Ozzy Osbourne. There you go. And now I like all things Ozzy Osbourne. You know what else I like? I like spiritual classics. Those are very different, aren't they? And music or sports, I enjoy golf, and I enjoy hard rock. Okay, so I'm giving it all these things. And once again, I caution you in advance. If all we do is give them these short snips and we don't come along later, it will create posts that for me, when I reviewed them, were almost cartoonish. You know, as I was diving into the depths of the interior castle, I suddenly had a thought of how much this is like golf. I mean, you know, it's like way out there. It wasn't remotely close to something that I would say. Understand that that is an outcome. That is the outcome of the inputs that you provided. Our virtual assistant cannot provide outcomes that are not tied to the inputs that we provide. And so the depth of content that we provide to them is going to determine the quality of what comes back out. And now in each of these things, style settings, humor, you know, I maybe use a little bit of that. I don't use emojis at all. Like I just don't do emojis. That is not me. My writing style is far more formal than informal, not all the way to the top. But the truth is, I have too much to say it in a short thing. Dramatic capitalizations, I don't do that very much at all. And the tone, an unrivaled expert. The truth is that I am much closer to that in my field of endeavor than I am something else. And so I might even give myself all the way over to a five on that one. Just grab your commit. I want to sound like a competent entrepreneur, or I want to sound like Oprah. I want to sound like me. I am a confident entrepreneur. Boom. Okay. And so now it's creating my profile. And once again, I recognize that many of you have already done this. I need to get everybody caught up. I need to get us all to the starting line. And that's where we're going, folks. We started racing a race back on August 7th or 8th, and we raced up to the starting line of sorts on last Wednesday. I would say that I believe that we arrived at the starting line on Wednesday. Today, I believe that we are arriving at the starting line on Monday. And that the work that we do between today and Monday will be of incredible importance because the efficacy of this tool is going to depend upon your understanding of the tool. And remember, this is about bringing accessible AI to the masses. And I've had one or two people say, oh my gosh, I'm confused. Folks, imagine right now that you had to try to craft five different apps. You had to go through what we're going through right now with five different applications. You had five different subscriptions, and those five were not communicating one with another. This is without question the simplest iteration of artificial intelligence that exists in the world. That is the truth. And so the way that I describe this, I talk about AI as being a tool. Well, a shovel is a tool and a backhoe is a tool. I talked about that yesterday. If I've not been digging a ditch, right, most of you, certainly most of us have not been using AI up until now. Most, some have. And there are some who've been using it in a halting fashion, like many people in the world. And there are a small handful who are very, very knowledgeable. Those of you who are very knowledgeable, I'm sure it's agonizing listening to me right now. I promise you will get caught up. When given that this is the first time we've picked up this particular tool, don't you suppose that if someone's been out there digging in the ditch for the last 2 years, they have calluses, don't they? They've got all these calluses, their muscles are fit and toned, and they get a lot more work done in a few minutes than we do. We have the same tool they have. We jump in there in a few minutes, our palms are bleeding. You see, we have to be willing to get calluses where those who already know and understand AI have blisters. The good news is that, excuse me, we have to be willing to get blisters where other people have calluses. The good news is that the use of this is easier than any initial exposure to a new concept I've ever seen. I've not seen something like this. When I compare this to trying to figure out how in the world to use an old flashing cursor DOS when computerization was being adopted, and I compare that to this is the most remarkably simplified thing that I have ever seen. And so now here we go. Hi, Randy. I am your AI expert and super excited to get started. I've just created your first personalized social post about family fun. I call it Laughter Lane. Okay, and so let's just see what she had to say. And so now she's analyzing those things. Ever noticed how laughter has this magical way of bringing families closer together? Okay, now anybody who knows me, that's not something I would say. Let's take a stroll down Laughter Lane, where every tickle, chuckle makes another precious memory made. Here's to giggles, guffaws, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that is not something I would say. So since that's not something I would say, then I know what I need to do is go through the rest of the prompts. I need to keep adding content, adding content, adding content. And as I add content, then what will happen? It will get closer and closer and closer to sounding like me. And I will be able to fashion the content so that I'm guiding it back to my own center line. Now, that is not me. Yesterday, someone brought to my attention, my friend Renee Hall brought to my attention that I didn't come down here and change this image. And so it said that Samantha Schrader had red hair and a beard. Well, of course, we know that's not true. And so now we want to change this image. We can use the stock image if we want, or we can load it with an image from our own profile. Now, in this case, I have not yet added any images to this library, none. And so the only images that are here are stock images. It will take me only a few minutes to add my own images to this. I have not done it yet. Had I done that, then I'd be able to select from my own images, or I would be able to select from these stock images. In my own case, my family's a beautiful thing. I know that your family is. There's not much reason that I would use a picture that is a stock picture when I have my family. And so then what I would do, come over here and go to my images. Well, I don't have any images here yet. And so if I don't have any images here, then drop images to upload or select, then I can go to my photo. I can go to a photo library if I want. Oh, there's my dog having a nap. Or if I don't want to go to a photo library, then I can take a picture of me right here. There's me. You know, I'm going to take another picture and even better. Okay. So there's me. And now I'm going to use this photo. Just like that, that photo will now get dropped into my email as opposed to the stock photo that was there. I'm going to select it. And when I select it, that now goes into the message that I'm going to deliver. I'm going to save that to my images so that I've got it. Select, boom. And now I'm going to add text to my image. I come down here to the text and I can say, today is a great, oh gosh, today is, today is a great day. Okay. Now I've got my image. I say, okay, I'm going to add it. Today is a great day. And here it's going to populate that image. I'm not quite sure why that has not populated that image yet. Okay, do you want to download? Yes, I want to download that image. That is going to go there. We'll add it to the post. Back over here. I'm sorry, I don't want to be there right now. Come back over here to my post. And then I'm going to share. I want to get back in there. I'm sorry. Now, why is that not there? Image editor, my images. Okay, I'm going to go here and I'm going to select it. Having selected, I'm going to save it to my image. Select just like that. Select. And then I'm going to save to my images. Already did that. I'm sorry, folks. I'm learning this as you are. As you see, I went through this a few times today. And then I'm going to select this one, select it, and I'm then going to add, and I'm going to get started. I'm not going to do my down, pull it out of there. Okay, folks, I'm sorry about this little bit of confusion, but hey, this is what I'm doing right now. What I am doing right now is what I want you to do. I want you to tinker with it and play with it, and I want you to see what works easily for you. And I want you to see those same things that are not clicking for you. And right now, I'm completely confused about why that has done that to me. So we're going to go back over here. Okay, my new social post is ready. Now we're going to check out my new social post. Take it a second to add this. Okay. Now, once again, if I want to change the image, and this again, this was picking from Samantha's profile. If I want to change the image, then I simply click this. When I change the image, it will then go to my library, or I can now push get started. Ah, darn it. I'm sorry. It's making me pull these out of Facebook, and I don't know how to do that. So forgive me for that little bit of a glitch. We won't make that mistake again tomorrow. I'm going to click on share. Oh, compliance check. Sorry. Wants me to do a compliance check so that I do not ask it to say things that it should not say. And one of the things that I've commented on frequently is that one of the areas that I'm most happy with is that this is teaching people. It is not simply a crutch. It's not a crutch that helps me overcome a I want to use a crutch to overcome a permanent injury. I can't speak Mandarin. Therefore, I want to always use the AI crutch to help me speak Mandarin. I don't want to use an AI crutch to always teach me what is low risk or high risk. I want to, as a result of reading this over the course of the next 6 months, the next year, I want to know in advance what is an acceptable post and what is not. Now, the system is going to require that I do the scan at the outset. I do have the ability to turn that scan off later on once I become comfortable with my ability to create low risk posts. That may be something that you would choose to do, or it may very well be something that you would choose not to do, to always leave the filter on. Oh gosh, it's not going to let me add that thing. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come clear over here. I'm going to go back to an instant post. And if I go to an instant post, then it's not asking for any of my feedback at all. It's just creating it just like that. If I want to do a quick post, then it's quite different. In the quick post, this lets me select or upload an image, which the instant post does not. It selects it for me. It lets me select or upload an image. Having selected and uploaded the image, it will then allow me to generate. So let's do that. So now we will go into my photo library. And going into my photo library, we will upload the image of Eric, who did an absolutely beautiful job last night. I mean, he didn't just do a good job, he did an absolutely incredible job. And so now we have added the image of Eric. Mhm. And there we have it. And there is that image. It's very, very well done. And I can now click share. And when I click share, now it's going to make me do the compliance check again after I put that in. Okay, once again, very low risk. So now I click continue. When I click continue, I have to tell you that I'm completely confused about why it is not letting me share this. And again, I'm simply choosing to be absolutely candid with you. I did this right before this session. And when I clicked share right there, it shared it. So that confuses me to literally no end. Let's see what happens if I click on this. Now it's going to make me download something, which I don't want to do. Paste the text, paste. Okay, we're not doing that. We've already clicked generate. Okay, folks, I'm going to make this a topic of tomorrow's discussion because that completely confuses me as to why it is not doing what I want it to do right now. Okay. And the good news with each one, with for each of you, is that I don't pretend to know something that I do not know. And so we're exploring together the things that we need to do in order to be increasingly effective. Now, one of the things that I was asked to do yesterday, I guess it was last night, someone asked me if I could comment just a little bit on the value proposition. And so here I contemplate, gosh, I think of so many of the people that I have personally enrolled in my career. And I'm a very prolific enroller. I've personally enrolled in the last 35 years. I've enrolled an average of one person every 6 days for that 35-year period of time. And I think of myself and I consider myself to be a responsible sponsor. When a person enrolls with me, I believe that they're getting an advantage. And by the way, I want you to feel that same way. I want you to feel that when someone enrolls with you, they're getting an advantage. They're getting something more than just the opportunity. They're getting something more than the leadership structure in total. They're getting something special because I'm their enroller. I want people to feel that way. I want anyone that you enroll to feel that way, that you are in fact a part of the opportunity. Now, over the course of my career, I've had a difficult time in being as available as I want to be to every person. That has at times been very challenging for me. If I'm going to enroll one new person every 6 days, if in the last month and a half I've enrolled 144 people, it's really hard to be available to each of them, isn't it? Even some of those who are, and in fact, some of those who are my most productive are the ones who get most frustrated because those who are the most productive should not need my help as those who are least productive. And so I wind up investing my time with some that are least productive. Why? In the intent to get them to that greater level of productivity. And so this particular function right here is of immeasurable worth to me and immeasurable worth also to anyone who is going to be a prolific enroller. And folks, as we contemplate now this new possibility of not just building a team of team builders, but of having thousands, I mean, thousands of potential users of the product or service. Now we need to be available for interaction with a lot more people than we've been available to before, because by definition, if they're my personal customer, any need for support they have will be directed either to me as an individual or to customer support at the company. There's not a hierarchy of leadership. Therefore, here is where it becomes incredibly important to have loaded enough content into the various pieces of this puzzle, such that when a person asks a question, it is not just an answer, and it's not just a generic chat GPT answer, which could be pulled from the body of the internet, but it's an answer that is pulled from your content. And so, for example, if I put in here, how do I overcome objections? So this is a very common question. Now, in this particular case, remember, this is a brand new dummy account that I just established yesterday, and it has literally none of my content loaded into it. And so it is doing right now the same thing that ChatGPT would be doing. It is pulling content from the body of the internet. And what she says is, and as you know,
Identify
talk.
common objections in your industry, prepare concise responses, and actively listen to your prospects' concerns. Use storytelling to relate past successes. If you need personalized, AI-driven suggestions for handling objections, LEV.AI offers prompts tailored to specific scenarios.
Okay. So in this case, instead of it saying identify common objections to your industry, it will say identify common objections to the home-based business building arena. Or it will say identify common objections to the development of large successful leadership structures. Or it might say identify common objections to direct selling, because it will be drawing specific content from my body of knowledge and specific content from your body of knowledge. And by the way, anyone in the entire LEV.AI family has free access to 100% of my content. If it happens to be copyrighted content, that is removed for your benefit. Everyone in the LEV.AI community has 100% access to all of my content to use as you choose. The only requirement being that if you amend the content, that you notify that this is an amendment from the original content, which came from Randy Schrader. So don't make things sound like they are mine if they are not, but you're all able to have all of my content. And so it says here, if you need personalized AI-driven suggestions, what she now is referring to is the fact that and inside any leadership group, there will be very specific content that is created. So you can come out of the gate with this. You can come out of the gate with this. And if you enroll a new member, then the information they're going to receive is this kind of information. I strongly encourage you, the very moment that your digital avatar is available, and as the ability to upload increasing amounts of content is opened up to you, I strongly encourage you to load dense content into the system so that she is delivering content that is specific to you, to our business, to this organization, even to your specific leader of choice within the organization. And by the way, there's no issue with that either. I had somebody today send me a message and said they wanted a presentation link. And so I sent them one of my presentations. They said, no, 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 I want Scotty Merker's. No problem. I want you to have what you want to have. We all want you to have what you want to have. The beauty of this is that you can load the value, you can load the knowledge of the entire community into your individual avatars. And I think that's absolutely unbelievable. Okay, so the chat feature, its efficacy is good at the very outset, comparable to what you would gather from Chat GPT. The more content you load, as we discussed yesterday, the more important, or the more uniquely tailored it is to you and to your efforts. Now, here it's giving you the AI option to craft a post for you. And so you can reply to a social post. How are you going to reply to a post? You reply to a post by going to one. And so now I'm going to come out of here. I'm going to go to Facebook and I am going to find a post. And so here I'm copying and pasting the text of a post. And what I'm going to text is, hold on here, edit, say like that. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we go in here. I'll just type it. More Arctic Cat snowmobiles are coming down the line. So that's the post that I'm seeing. So now we're asking it to create a post. Now the question is, why would we not just create it ourselves? Here is the answer. And also, I want to point this out. I've um, I've had multiple people tell me that they didn't like a particular post. Folks, what we're trying to do is grow your social media presence. Samantha has told me, Randy, some of those posts, I don't like that as much as what you write. What I write produces a predictable number of clicks, likes, comments. I am not going to assume that what I write works better. This is technologically advanced. This has been scanning social media for a long, long, long time. This system knows what gets better responses. And so my response to this particular post, I believe, would not create the same amount of the ball coming back across the net, the like, the comment. It will not create the same thing as what they said. Now, I'm going to find out. Their response was, whoa, 2026 is looking like a ride to remember with the new Arctic Cat snowmobiles in the mix. Can't wait to see how they rev up the snow scene. That is not exactly like I would write. I'm willing to bet that it's more effective than what I would write, or it would not be there. That's what I've a person has told me, well, I don't like the way that it writes the post. I say, okay, please go to your Facebook page and tell me how many friends you have. 176. All right. And so the way that you write creates so little engagement that though you've been a Facebook member for the last 15 years, you have 176 friends. And so maybe instead of saying, I don't like what they write, maybe we should say, what I write does not produce the outcome that I want. And so now I need to look and say, is there anything in what AI wrote that I would find objectionable? Now, what I would not say, whoa, I just wouldn't. I probably never said that. But maybe that's why it gets a like that I don't get. 2026 looking like a ride. Remember the new Arctic Cat snowmobiles in the mix. Can't wait to see how they rev up the snow scene. I am going to give it a chance to see if, in fact, it's better than what I do. That's what I'm going to do. And so now all I have to do is come down here. I copy it to the clipboard. Having copied it to the clipboard, now all I've got to do is go up and click paste, and boom. Now I've been given guidance as to what to write. And so for all of you out there, if there's one of you out there that does not have 5,000 Facebook friends right now, then instead of sending me a message that says, hey, I'm not sure that I like the way that text reads, instead read your text and say, I've been at this for 15 years and I still don't have the 5,000 maximum friends at Facebook. I need to be willing to learn from what this is writing. See, that's what I'm getting from it all these years later. I mean, again, I've got a pathetic little social media presence. Yes, I've got my 5,000 Facebook friends and I've got 10,000 business page followers and I've got. It is a tiny fraction of what I should have, given what my prominence has been, my success has been historically. And so I personally will fight the urge. I will fight the urge to say, no, I know how to create a post better. I'm going to look at another example of that. Hold on one second. We're going to come in here and we will look at this. Ba-dum-bum. Hold on, hold on. Okay, so edit post. So this is one of my very own. And let's see what AI says about my post. And so here was another one. I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to start over. And now I'm going to copy the paste, do this, and I'm going to go generate. And let's see how it compares. Now, all I did was I posted, would you like to be more happy more of the time? As some of you know, I do a video podcast. By the way, it's been paused for a few weeks. It goes back live in 2 weeks. But I've done a video podcast that has been really, really well received. And the name of the video podcast is More Happy More of the Time. And so the post right above a link was, would you like to be more happy more of the time? The video below offers some clues. That's what I wrote. This is what AI wrote in response. This sounds intriguing. Who wouldn't want to crack the code to being more happy more of the time? Can't wait to dive into the video. Okay, that's better, isn't it? That is better. What I wrote was, would you like to be more happy more of the time? The video below offers clues. AI wrote, this sounds intriguing. Who wouldn't want to crack the code to being more happy more of the time? I can't wait to dive into the video. That's better than what I wrote. And so now I would simply copy that to the clipboard and go up and paste it. And you'll notice you can put a lot here, up to 3,000 characters. You can put a lot. And so I've been poking and prodding and trying to determine what are the most obvious, the most immediate, and the most obvious value adds. That depends. It depends on who you are. First of all, let's recognize this. If you have been using social media, and let's just use Facebook as an example. If you have been using Facebook for a decade and you don't have the maximum 5,000 followers, then that is as though you received a personalized message. Somebody rang on the door and they said, excuse me, ma'am, excuse me, sir, the posts that you write do not create engagement and your audience doesn't grow and your market value is the same today, diluted by inflation as it was a decade ago. Let us start writing the messages for you. So I'll tell you what I will do. And this will require a tiny bit of ego taming because my mind tells me what? My mind tells me I've got all the answers and I know what to write. After all, I'm Randy. Well, I have friends that have millions of fans and friends and followers, and I don't. I'm Randy. And so I need to get out of my way and I need to let the technology do for me that which I cannot do for myself. And by the way, I really liked that one. I'm going to do another one. That sounds intriguing. Who wouldn't want to crack the code? That's better than what I wrote. I'm going to do one more example. That's one of the better ones that I've seen, one that was, for me at least, a fairly obvious improvements to what I had done. And so here's another example. What I wrote was this. And let's see what LEV.AI thinks about it. Mhm. And I would encourage all of you to do this. See, I'm learning right now. As I'm talking to you, I'm learning myself and I'm letting you listen because I'm also in my earliest days. Okay, so now I'm going to go generate. So what I wrote is, it is time for all to leverage AI. That's what I wrote. And what came out instead was, wow, this is truly an intriguing exploration of LEV.AI. Thanks for sharing. I'm definitely going to watch and see how we can all harness AI's power. Time to embrace the future. My guess is that that would provoke a different response from the next reader than what I wrote. I can see what are the ways that we add value? A tangible, specific way that we add value is to grow one's social media presence. When one grows one's social media presence, by definition, one is growing the influence of the individual whose social media presence has improved. If we grow the influence of any person, we are growing their future value. And so when I was asked today by my friend Rick, Randy described some very specific value propositions. I believe that it is worth more than $100 a month to go from 150 Facebook friends to 5,000 in the next 3 years. I'm absolutely certain of that. I don't doubt it for a minute. Why do you suppose it is that whatever what I do what I call shake the tree? Shaking the tree means this. If I have my candidate tree, here I have my candidate tree, and we all have a little bit of this low hanging fruit. These are people who know us, trust, and respect us. They'll do with us whatever we're going to do because they know us, trust, and respect us. Then we have these people up here higher in our candidate tree. These are associations that we have. We know them, they know us, but we don't have that same close relationship. What we must have with them is a ladder that gets us up there. That's what we have to have, a ladder that gets us up to where they are. What we're creating right now is a ladder with each one of those posts gaining further engagement. Each little bit of engagement is moving that person down from higher in the tree to ultimately the objective being to cause always there to be low hanging fruit. One of the hallmarks of my career, I say it all the time, it is my choice on a daily basis whether I choose to enroll somebody. Why? Because I've been engaged in non AI practices designed to do that same thing. I'm already experiencing already in a day or two. I am experiencing that I can take a person from here to here in a lot less time if I utilize the various things, all of the things, not one or two, but if I utilize all of the services that are made available here, I can bring a person from high in the tree to low hanging fruit sooner. And then when I shake the tree, that is all these people up here. I can't even see them. I'm just shaking the tree, recognizing that 178,000 people started using AI today who didn't use it yesterday. And so when I'm shaking the tree, what am I looking for? I'm looking to get the ear or capture the attention of that person who is looking that particular day. And so the person who is looking that particular day, I'm shaking the tree by doing what? I'm shaking the tree by writing a post and posting that on my various social media platforms. And so if when I shake the tree, it causes a larger percentage of those people to start the movement down to here, to look down and see me, then I've done something really, really good. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to do a little bit more, a little bigger one, give you an idea of what that looks like. Hold on. Stop, stop, stop. Not what I'm looking for. Okay. Uh, Now this one is a longer one. This will be curious. I haven't seen this yet. So let's see. Copy. Writing another social media post. We're going to start by deleting all of this stuff. Mhm. So I'm just, okay. Now there is another, and I'm not going to generate a post. This was a longer one. So what's it screaming at me? Okay, I'm sorry. This is a response. This is a response to the post. And so let's read the post and then we'll see what AI suggested as the response. And so now we have read a post, and what we're trying to do is increase engagement from the person who wrote it. We're trying to get, when we put a comment, then we're looking to create interaction with that individual. And so here's what I wrote. Having been among the most fortunate people in the world of home based business for decades, I offer the following observations. One, the days of members paying prices that have been set to meet the needs of a compensation plan as opposed to tangible value provided to the consumer are gone. They will not come back. The likelihood of any direct selling company meeting or exceeding the operational efficiencies of Amazon or other major online retailers approximates zero. The above reality suggests that the future of direct selling is a digital future, delivering nutritional and personal care products. On up there, won't let me see it. Okay, hold on. Delivering nutritional personal care products across national borders is likewise becoming a thing of the past for our industry. Compensation plan must be configured to meet the needs of all participants, not just elite producers at the top, and all future direct selling enterprises. Successes will have strong customer acquisition programs and appropriate pricing to sustain the customer activity. What is the sum? What used to work no longer does, never again will. It is time to move on from the past and to fully leverage AI. And what comes from that is the response to the post. Here's what we copy and paste in response to the post. Absolutely riveting insights. The industry is evolving at lightning speed, and your vision captures exactly what's needed to stay ahead. Here's to embracing the future with innovation. Now, what AI is telling me is that that kind of a post, if I copy and paste a post like that one that had some thought associated with it, AI is coming back and telling me this is what you say to perhaps gather the attention of either the person who wrote the post or other people who are seeing it. Now, I don't think that there is any doubt that I can utilize this particular feature. I know that I can use this feature to improve what I say. The truth is, I didn't give any thought. I don't give much thought to what I say. Somebody says something I agree with, and I push like. Well, pushing like is not the same as what AI just did for me. And the purpose, again, of this particular component is to cause ever increasing numbers of people to be going from the top of the tree to the bottom of the tree. Every time I do a social media post, I'm shaking the tree. And every time I respond to someone else's social media post, I am nurturing or moving that candidate from the top of the tree down closer to the bottom of the tree. Okay, so you can see we have a lot of things, and I know I have rambled on uncontrollably. We're already an hour into this today. I encourage all of you between today and tomorrow, if you have not done so yet, to log in to this back office. Now, when I say that, I know some of you said, Randy, I really want to do that, and I've been unable to log in to my back office. I know that some of you have experienced that, and I have notified the company that there doesn't seem to be an individual fix that will cause those who are having trouble to log in. In other words, the same issue that's causing this login problem is not the one that's causing this login problem. The company is aware of the number. The total number is not a really big number, but even one is too big, and that one understandably gets spread every place. And so, once again, let's go back to what exactly do we do to make this happen. I'm going to log myself completely out of this, and I'm going to log into, once again, this is a new account that I established just yesterday. And we can see that it automatically goes here. That's where it goes. Boom, just like that, it goes. Now, if I want to transfer over to the tool back office, so now where am I? Now this is the regular back office. If I want to transition to the tool back office, then what I must do is log out of this, two separate logins. And now I come over here, and what do I see? The new login is my.app.getlev.ai. And so we're going to go over here to my.app.getlev.ai. And in a perfect world, this is now going to take me here. It is going to allow me to enter my email, which is this. In a perfect world, this is now going to allow me to put my password into it. And that's going to be, in a perfect world, this is going to connect. I will not be completely surprised based on the messages I've received from others. It's going to connect me right up. Wait up there. Wait a second. Hold on. What did it tell me? Failed to log in. Can't even read what that says. Tech tank user. Okay, that's a new one for me. So, folks, as you can see, I'm not professing to have every answer. I absolutely cannot explain to you why that did not log in right then. Hang on one second. Let me try it a different way. Hold on, give me 1 second. I'm going to look at my most recent notes. Give me 1 second. And by the way, folks, I just choose to let you watch this in real time. I'm not contending that I have all of the answers right now. I am promising you that I will have all of the answers and that those answers will be easily deliverable to large numbers of people by Sunday night. You have my absolute assurance of that. But right now, let's just see if we can cause this to log in. Bum, bum. I'm sorry, I'm keeping you guys here so long. Your patience is beyond measure. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Okay, hold on. Okay. I'm not satisfied this is going to work, but I'm going to see. Okay, we already went through this part. Now we're going to click log in. When we click log in, we're going to go to gmail.com. Let's get a standard method, which I think is not going to work. Let's just see what happens next. Okay, failed to log in. So, folks, here's the deal. Our hour is spent, and hold on. Our hour is spent. I'm, of course, not at all pleased that that did not let me log on right then. I will not tell you that I'm especially surprised by it because other people have been having that challenge. I have not had that challenge in my account. We just had it in that brand new account that I just established. I'm going to work on this for the next hour and I'm going to post a video. I will post it in the next hour in the WhatsApp groups that goes through that login procedure and that fixes that. I tried to get that resolved before this session. I was working frantically on it before it came. Please accept my apologies for that. I'm going to do this again tomorrow, and we're going to spend another hour working on this together, and then we're going to spend another hour on Sunday. And you have my personal promise that by the time Sunday evening comes, we will have resolved 100% of the transitions between the regular back office and the tool suite back office. You have my personal promise of that. And I'm going to continue working on it right now, but I'm not going to keep you here. And I will post videos in the back office in the next hour illustrating what the issue was that I was doing wrong, or the issue was that had to be fixed at the corporate side. And I'll post a video in about an hour. Please accept my apologies. Please understand. Our mental emotional barrier of exit is designed to do what? It is designed to cause us to push forward when we run into a bit of resistance. There will always be resistance. There is no such thing as a tremendous, fantastic new outcome in the absence of challenge. There will always be resistance. Join me in the idea that we'll push against that resistance. I'm going to push against it for the next hour. An hour from now, I assure you there'll be a video in both of those two WhatsApp groups as well as in the Team Elite group that illustrate what the error was, what I need to do differently to get me into that back office in the new account so you don't experience that when you do that with your new member. Everybody, God bless you. Please be patient with me. Know that I'm doing my best and that I will keep doing my best until we get it right. Okay. The future's bright. See you along the way. Bye bye.